Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Beatles Forever. So it's time to see what's been going on with the Beatles on this date and time. And I've always loved to see what things happen on a date in history, and if the history is being the Beatles, it makes it even more interesting. So let's see. Okay, on the 21st, there weren't very many events happening, so I'm going to grab a few dates before and after, just to fill it in a little bit. And the first of these dates comes from the Beatles Daily on the website. May the 15th, 1963, Please Please Me LP, the 8th week on the top 10 UK New Musical Express chart. Then there was a concert at Royalty Chester. In 1964, on May 15th, Jerry and the Pacemakers, Film Limited, film production company, is incorporated, with Epstein one of its opening directors. On this date in 1965, the Beatles single Yes It Is hit number 46 in the U.S. On May 15, 1967, Paul McCartney and Linda Eastman meet each other. Then on this date in 1968, John Lennon and Paul McCartney appeared on NBC TV's The Tonight Show. Joe Garagiola was sitting in for Johnny Carson, and during the show, the establishment of the Apple record label was announced. May 15, 1969, failure of a possible meeting of the Beatles and Minor Northern Songs Limited share owners to avoid ATV's control over the company. On May 15, 1971, 2 short films by John Lennon were shown at the Cannes Film Festival in France. On this date in 1981, George Harrison's single, For All Those Years Ago, was released in the UK. The recording of the song featured all 3 remaining Beatles, Harrison, Ringo Starr, and Paul McCartney. And it's a great song. May the 15th, 1982, Paul McCartney had a duet with Stevie Wonder, Ebony and Ivory, and it hit number 1 in the U.S. Then the last event on May the 15th, 1996, British television broadcast for the first time footage of the Beatles playing at the Casanova Club, filmed February the 14th, 1961. Okay, the next dates are from the May 20th, and this is from the Beatles Bible. The marriage of Harold Harrison and Louise French. And thank goodness they got married. We wouldn't have had George without them. Then on May 20th, 1964, there was a recording of the BBC Light program's Let's Find Out, and Brian answers teenagers' questions. And that evening, Brian appears on Southern TV program For Art's Sake. May the 20th, 1966, there's shooting of clips for Paperback Writer and Rain at the Cheswick House in Gardens, London. According to the disc jockey Jimmy Savile, McCartney wrote Paperback Writer in response to a request from an aunt who asked if he could write a single that wasn't about love. Savile said, with that thought obviously still in his mind, he walked around the room and noticed that Ringo was reading a book. He took one look and announced that he would write a song about a book. In a 2007 interview, McCartney recalled that he started writing the song after reading in the Daily Mail about an aspiring author, possibly Martin Amis. The Daily Mail was Lennon's regular newspaper, and copies were in Lennon's Weybridge home when Lennon and McCartney were writing songs. The song's lyrics are in the form of a letter from an aspiring author addressed to a publisher. The author badly needs a job and has written a paperback book based on a book by a man named Lear. And then, also on this date in 1966, John and Cynthia attend an all-night party with Mick Jagger and Chrissy Shrimpton. On May 20th, 1967, Brian Epstein temporarily leaves the Priory Hospital for an afternoon tea with Ringo and his family at their Weybridge house. John and George attend, and later Brian returns to the clinic. On this date in 1970, it was the premiere of Let It Be at the London Pavilion in Liverpool. And that evening, George goes to the studio with Phil Spector, beginning work on the LP All Things Must Pass. May 21st, 1964, the U.S. single release, it's in German, so forgive me, C'est lieb dich, I'll Get You, is released. In 1966, that morning, after partying with Mick Jagger and Chrissy Shrimpton, John and Cynthia shop at the market at Portobello Road, London. And May 21st, 1967, Brian temporarily leaves the Priory Hospital in Putney for an afternoon tea with his parents at 24 Chapel Street. Also on this date in 1971, there's the UK LP release of Ram by Paul McCartney. Now we have May 22nd, 1963, Please Please Me, the LP, 9th week in the top 10, according to the UK New Musical Express chart. Then there was a concert at Gaumont, Ipswich, the third British tour, on that date in 1963. Also on May 22nd, 1965, Ticket to Ride made it to number 1, the first and last week, according to Billboard. On May 22nd, 1968, John declares that the Vietnam War is a matter of insane people in an interview screened in the U.S. Then, the Club del Artusia, London, lunchtime party for friends and press on the occasion of the opening of Apple Tailoring, civil and theatrical. In attendance were John, Yoko, George, and Patty. It was the first public appearance together of John and Yoko. After the party, John and Yoko walk along Kings Road to the new Apple shop, which was located at 161 Kings Road for photographers. So that's all that we have in the news for the Beatles this week. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you haven't subscribed, if you could do so, it would help the channel to grow, as well as giving it a thumbs up. It's all a great help. And if you haven't clicked on the notification bell, if you could do that, it lets you know when a video is posted. I wish everybody a good day, and tune in again soon for another episode of The Beatles Forever and The Beatles on This Date. Thank you. Bye.